Let's get back to work. Um, uh, we've covered this like a lot of times, and I just have to focus on correcting the technology, and that seems to be my main focus. I want to get as many people through this hell and living in the kingdom of heaven as soon as possible. Yeah, as many as people that want to be there, but you got to really want to be there. You know, I'm not superficial and/or shallow. You know, the military and the rocket scientists and the perverts in this valley just are insidious and won't. They just won't quit doing what they're doing. They're brain chemical addicts. You know, I'm not shallow in any way, shape, or form. I was dating Raquel, and then I was dating Law, and Law cheated, and Raquel cheated, and and I understand why they cheat because it's hard with the brain activity through relativity to be with someone like myself when all the jealous, aggressive, violent perverts that want us all celebrating their perversion want you dead and not to exist because then we can't celebrate perversion anymore if you're a comic book character or don't exist. So I'm not upset with Yolanda or Steffi or Rocky or anything like that. I understand how genetics works. I understand how relativity works. I understand how people on TV work. But you guys got to understand that most of you're choosing to believe in a comic book written by a corporation that mass murders people, has mass murdered more people in the name of God in the history of the world, and now has a large bank to pay for sexual abuse to children that are made vulnerable by those economics. Okay. And that you're choosing to believe in their comic book character instead of a living Messiah that went into the bowels of hell, Sierra Vista, Arizona, and cleaned it up, resisting temptation through just having faithful prayer to lead them through. All right. So you choose to sit there and debate comic books like with that Dwayne guy the other day. I was correcting like I should. You were correcting. Okay. Are you living the Lord's Prayer? Or are you standing up to live the Lord's Prayer? What makes you think you have the authority to correct kids that are fucking with you because you're all making money on YouTube? Okay. Guy, just shut up. You stupid, self-righteous, pompous asshole. This isn't an overnight thing. It takes tens of thousands, like Einstein said, and Jesus says in the Bible, you and your father, the devil. It takes tens of genetic molecular similitudes, okay? You're just like your dirty, rotten, pig-stealing, child-molesting, murdering, raping grandpa. If you don't want to fucking hear that, go run for president, okay? Barack Obama's an asshole. He couldn't stop his ego from having his children participate in child molestation and murder through science projects if he tried. He sent his one daughter off to Harvard or whatever and the other one off to the University of Michigan to learn how to put satellites up in the sky and keep your family's money safe. Okay? My own family does it. My own son is still agitated by it. I'm agitated by it. I wake up in the morning and go, fuck, they did it again. Yeah. I talked to Lopez last night because I was sitting there listening to music and she snuck in. I said, man, all I see you now is just the rape of a 4-year-old boy that they have no intention on stopping. You ever seen that, not Maleficent, but the Sleeping Beauty? Where he has to go through and he's old and she's young, and stuff like that. And I don't feel that way, I tried to make love with the women that I made love with when I was young. Okay. And women that were interested in me. Michael Jordan hit on Miriam. Okay. And I wasn't surprised. I was like, yeah, I know. Okay. And he was married. Okay. I didn't hit on Miriam. I just became friends with her and tried to get her to understand that she shouldn't settle for a cheating fucking run by his dick asshole. That she should only have a man that will commit to a faithful relationship and has the courage and the integrity to try to maintain that relationship. Now, that's going to be a lot easier for a guy who kills people for the government for a paycheck in this hellhole than it is for me. Because like I told my wife, I will do nothing selfish to hurt you. And, but and if I don't get to you to try to love you, it's because they murdered me, not because I was being selfish. And we all know that. Rockefeller's collected the evidence beyond any reasonable doubts. And any fucking Santa Claus car commercials. Experience amazing. Oh, Lexus my ass, you fucking perverts. You sell cars, you do business with satellite surveillance, child molesting, murdering perverts. You know, Tom fucking Cruise and his fucking Scientology partners. You're blowing up planes and pretending to blow up aircraft carriers and stuff instead of stand up for the applied physics of lawyer's prayer. Where does science say that what you're doing is sane and rational and maintains the natural laws to keep a baby safe from a child molesting satellite pervert? Huh? Gosh, damn you and Miscavige, you're just walking, talking piles of shit. And I know what happened. I know you guys were virtually present in my house in Santa Fe, and I know what happened with the manipulation of my wife and how it affected her kids. And it also what happened with my first wife and it affected her child. And so it's hard for him to have a coherent, cohesive relationship with me because of all the vulnerable positions he was put in by perverts like you. Okay. You can't protect your kids from being child molested by pervert scientists. You can't. Okay, they're still doing it. They did it to me last night. Okay, where I couldn't stay in a relationship because I didn't have a biggest penis to keep her in a relationship, and I'm like, that's bullshit. Well, because Miriam was more attractive, had a nicer body than Law, and I didn't have sex with Miriam because I thought Law was cheating, and Law had a Halle Berry body, and Miriam had a Fly Girl body. Okay? Rocky wanted me to go have sex with her when I came back home from basic training when we met, and she asked to get together and meet. And I said, no, I couldn't. I said, 6 months ago. Why weren't you this way 6 months ago? Because she was still living with her mom. She moved out. I said, I'm with someone else, and I was engaged, And Law had cheated on me when I was in basic training and in tech school. Okay? So, but I didn't have conclusive evidence, and I wasn't going to break a relationship on hearsay and gossip. Okay? She admitted it after we broke up, but she didn't admit it while we were together. Okay? And I'm not shallow at all, and I didn't replace, the big butt girl with the tiny butt, and stuff. And Amy is not nearly as physically attractive as Edna or Miriam or, the other women. And I had women that were more physically attractive, come away from here and be my man, ask me that all the time when I was married to Amy and they knew she was screwing around. And I wouldn't do it. The main reason why is because I knew the people that are abusing me with satellites in my dreams would fuck us anyway. Okay, because of the courts. Amy knows the courts and Steffi knows the courts and she knows how they work and she knows how they will fuck you. Unless you are a multimillionaire or a billionaire or a mega mogul, you are going to get fucked in the courts if you're a man because they want to be champions for women. That's irregardless of if the judge is a Republican or a Democrat. They can't help but have this big, I'm the only one that's got a big dick. You're not the only one. You're not the only one that's got a big dick. I'm the only one that's got a big dick. That's how they are. Okay. And I don't let that bother me. I came the size I can kick Dwayne Rock Johnson and John Cena's ass at the same time. Okay. I can explain and simply and intelligently all the Nobel Prize winning laureates. Okay, I'm a tolerable shower singer, and I can dance good. When I put my mind to it. So, I could outdance a lot of people. Some people that are professional dancers if I put my mind to it. Guys, I could run under a 4 flat 40 and jump over 64 inches in the air. I'm sure if I put my mind to it. I did when Bob's mom threw a knife at Mike and it missed and was heading towards my leg. I did a Bruce wheel. I pushed my foot off the table and did a backflip up over the couch and landed on my feet like a gazelle. Okay, that happened many times. All I had to do was just keep myself in good shape. I could do anything Simone Biles could do, but do it better if I needed to save a child from being molested. So put that in your Guinness. Because I'm not going to do flips jumping off a thing into water to save a child from drowning. I'm just going to jump in, and then I'm going to save the child from drowning. And then I'm going to kick your ass so fucking hard all your relatives can feel it. Here's your gold rock around your chest. You represented your country well, right? You dirty, rotten fucking perverts. I'm watching the Texas Tech BYU game. This is the second time they've had Tech, and the second time Tech is taking it to them. So they know, okay, Tech's in the playoffs, and unless we get them on the right day, we're just not at the same caliber we need to be to get to there to try to beat Georgia and so on and so forth to be in that tournament. So this is, if you're supposed to be in the tournament, you're going to win the tournament. You got to win the games to get to the tournament, right? So if you don't win the games, then you don't worry about it. Don't think what it could have, should have. You probably most likely weren't going to win the tournament. You couldn't beat a team twice to get into the tournament, right? You know what I'm saying? So, but it's like it's just fucking football. Who cares? What's important is clean water, fresh air, people not being extorted, exploited, psychologically and mentally abused through a virtual presence that mentally and emotionally rapes them, and then makes them psychologically and mentally emotionally vulnerable when they're already physically vulnerable because of abuse and toxic and abuse that are okayed by the Supreme Court and administered by the Pentagon. Your constitutional republic democracy doesn't work. It needs a totalitarian dictatorship that mass murders over money to keep it in place. Okay? I'm the Messiah. Okay? No, Rabbi Wolpe can't tell you. You can't tell yourself who the Messiah is. I have to teach the technology who the Messiah is in rabbinic tradition and understanding and eternal faith. Judeo-Christian is not part of it. It says one guy does it, and he's from the rabbinic line. It's in all the stories. It's even in the Hindu stories and the Buddhist stories and the Shinto stories and stuff. Okay? It's me. This isn't up for debate, assholes. Go get in your college clothes and be on a fucking food commercial where people hold food hostage and celebrate it and looking all sexy on TV. What's sexy about holding food hostage and putting on a display of your sexual attractiveness for money for food held hostage? How fucking sick? Never mind, that's a rhetorical fucking question. How fucking sick are you? Hey, look, that's Notre Dame's football coach. Yeah. Touchdown Jesus Factor. They're going to sell you food wrapped in plastic, death and decay that gets recycled so they can make more money to do it again the next day. Who holds food hostage when children are being mass murdered through starvation across the world? In Somalia, Ethiopia, Mexico. Hell, it happens here. And then they try to make the parents feel so inadequate, they put them into foster care with good citizens that have USAA members for life and the best Geico insurance and the best damn fucking stupid actors that can talk with a British accent and acting like a fucking lizard, right? Quibble. I've never seen a make and model like you. You've never seen my mother. You didn't get to see my mother. They killed my mother. Okay? None of you never seen a make and model like me. You didn't get to meet the Holy Grail. They murdered her in Phoenix, at a hospice in Scottsdale, Arizona in 1994 in April. Do you understand? Because I remember talking about that. Amy, all the bad things happened during. That's not true. Lots of good things happen in April. A little girl is born near Bradenton, Florida, okay, that gives birth to Natalie, Noah, Emily, Kate, and Crum. Okay. That's way better than the Titanic sinking and Lincoln getting assassinated because you assholes value money and your fantasy football leagues and you're addicted to your sexual prowess more than you are living truthful, faithful, kind, caring lives. Make Amy feel like she's a bad person because she was abused by perverts her whole life because the Temple of Set Illuminati is one of the best organizations in the history of Scientology, right? Scientology can kiss my ass, okay? Dave Miscavige and Tom Cruise are complete, pathetic perverts compared to me. We got the meat. Okay, fuck you. Ving Rhames is an asshole. Okay? Everybody who does propaganda for money and doesn't stand up for the Lord's Prayer immediately is a fucking asshole. They don't have to know who I am. You can't read that? You can't read that. You don't have these little books at vacation Bible schools from hypocrites that accuse me of being an old Joel. You know, what are you doing there? Making videos to get girls out of human trafficking in Mexico. What are you doing there, Joel? Kissing ass to the fuckers that put the girls in human trafficking for your job, right? Where is it? It's Mark, right? Here it is, the model prayer. It's in Matthew, right? And when you pray, you shall not be like the hypocrites, for they love to pray standing in the synagogues and on the street corners and the streets, so they may be seen by men. Assuredly, I say to you, okay? Here it is. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Your kingdom come, your will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And do not lead us into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. For yours is the kingdom, of the power, and the glory forever. Amen. That's what it says. It's from Vacation Bible School, from you hypocrites.